the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. Madam Clerk, you please call the roll.
Councilmember Brackett.
Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Present.
Brown. Councilmember Childs.
Present.
Councilmember Humphries.
Present.
Vice Mayor Stockton.
Present.
Councilmember Wright.
Present.
Mayor Neal.
Present. Member Childs, can you hear everything all right?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Now we're going to approve the previous minutes. Do I hear a motion to approve the previous minutes as written?
I'll make the motion.
Do I hear a second?
I'll second.
Motion by Ms. Wright, second by Ms. Humphries. Any corrections or deletions to the minutes?
Not that I can see, sir.
No.
Mayor, there's 2 sets of minutes.
There's 2 sets. Will you include both of those sets? It's been so long since we've had a meeting, I can't remember how many we've got.
You want a motion on both sets?
Unless your motion will cover both sets.
That can cover both sets.
Okay.
Councilmember Brackett.
Yes.
Councilmember Brown.
Yes.
Councilmember Childs.
Yes.
Councilmember Humphries.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stockton.
Yes.
Councilmember Wright.
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
So nice.
All right, nothing on item 5. Item 6, reports of mayor and council. I'll start with Mr. Brackett. Do you have anything to report, sir?
No.
Ms. Wright, do you have anything?
I do not.
Mr. Brown?
I guess I can report, a couple of council people have asked about the meeting last night at the county commission, unless that's on there. Yeah, they did not pass the resolution that they said that they were going to pass, and the property assessor was not there to take questions. She sent a text that said that she would be unable to be there, having to work over every night, working on the informal hearings, have deadlines I've got to meet. Sorry, I can't make it. And they asked if anyone else could come. She said, I don't have anyone else to send. I'm it, shorthanded. Ron Woody is very informed about the city share process. We have had many conferences and phone calls about this. I don't know how well that went over with the county commission, because they appointed an ad hoc committee to meet, and they have appointed Darrell Meadows, Ron Berry, David Bashirs, Charlotte Cunningham, and Randy Ellis. The ad hoc committee, they call it the Ad Hoc Reappraisal Committee, will meet on May the 21st, 2020 at 5 p.m. at the Roane County Courthouse, 3rd floor conference room. And supposedly she's supposed to be there. It is my understanding that they're going to ask each city to have 2 members there, probably the mayor and the city manager if it's affected, or a recorder or something, and we'll go over all that. I had a long conversation with Mr. Woody on Thursday about it, and I think we got another letter from him afterwards, if I'm not mistaken, or he was sending another letter. So, but that's where we're at on that.
Well, since then, I've also sent a letter to her and to all the county commissioners and to Ron Woody. That all you got?
Yes.
Ms. Stockton, do you have anything?
Well, a few things from the beautification, and then too, I guess, as you drove in, if anybody saw, I wanted to thank Deputy Sparks and the inmates crew with the fire chief cleaning up the interstate. That looked really good as you're driving in, so that looked really good today. Just wanted to brag on some volunteers that helped out. If you haven't noticed, the intersection at 58 and 70, there's an empty lot that is, well, it's a business that's no longer there. Allowed the Outdoor Kingston to partner, and the beautification partnered up as well, just to help volunteers that wanted to. So we kind of been chipping away at it, and I know you can see a lot better, so it's a process, but it is nice of them to allow us to use that sign. So we're working on that project right now while it's empty. So just wanted to thank all the volunteers. That's it.
Ms. Summers, do you have anything?
Not a whole lot to report with Park and Rec right now, with mostly all of our parks being closed. I think according to Chase, they're doing some deep cleaning on the restrooms in preparation for the tentative opening on June 1st. And then trying to make the decision about the pool. I think the city manager is going to talk some more about that. That's it.
All right, I have nothing to report. I think we've talked about everything. Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. Sorry, Mr. Childs. Do you have anything?
No, sir, I'm good.
Well, next time, just scream if I miss you, okay?
Mr. Mayor, may I ask a question?
Yes.
Ms. Stockton, is there any way that we could get copies of the minute in our packets from the beautification committee?
Yes, it's in, this past meeting was canceled. It was just anybody that wanted to show to, so the previous minutes were sent, so that would have been the month prior. Yeah.
All right, I'll turn it over to the city manager, Mr. Bowling.
Thank you, Mayor. I've got a few things to report. First of all, I don't know if you all saw my email the other day. I don't think I heard back from anybody on it, but I want to get your thoughts either tonight or you can respond to me later about the budget. We've talked about kind of trying to put together a schedule as to what it may look like. I think the more we get into the uncertainty over the rate study and how that's going to shape out, and also with COVID and not knowing probably till into June at least before we start seeing numbers, maybe even into July with those to start seeing how that's going to affect our revenues in the short term, and then also with the news that we won't have our certified tax rate till sometime in July. I think it's looking more and more likely that we probably need to prepare for a continuing resolution as opposed to trying to get deep into the budget process in June. Certainly welcome to your feedback on that, but I think that's something we ought to prepare for. I just don't believe that we can really go ahead in June with any certainty. So I just wanted to throw that out. And again, if any of you have feedback on that tonight, or if you want to get with me later, just kind of give us an idea of what we need to prepare for next month, whether we need to look at getting budgets ready to get to you or getting working on a continuing resolution. So your feedback would be appreciated on that, as well as Councilmember Humphreys mentioned the reopening of our facilities. As you know, right now, our tentative plan is to reopen City Hall on Monday, with the exception of the police department, and then open everything back up June the 1st. As of now, that's what we want to do. It's certainly a difficult decision. Something else I would love to have your feedback on. We don't know. Closing things was easy. That was the right thing to do from a safety standpoint, to protect both our employees and the citizens. Reopening things is a lot harder. And do you reopen everything across the board? Do you reopen things in phases? Some things are kind of easy. Some of the restrooms, things like that, where you're not going to have big accumulations of people. Other things, playgrounds, basketball courts, stuff like that. Could be a different situation. So we're going to continue evaluating that between now and June 1st. Again, would certainly appreciate your feedback on that. Another big issue is the swimming pool. I just saw the notification today that the state is closing all of their pools in their state parks for the summer. So don't know where that's going to go. Again, pretty hard to have any sort of social distancing in that situation. Chase and I have talked about it. We're in the process of getting the pool ready in case we can open it, but again, don't know how realistic that is, or I don't know if we'll have any concrete guidance from the state or anyone else, but it may just be a decision we have to make locally. So a lot to decide between now and June the 1st. So again, if any of you have any thoughts on that, I would certainly welcome it. Brush pickup, we have finished our schedule. Once again, it was successful. We continue to be very happy with the way we're doing it now. Seems to be working well. Obviously, we got a little behind with staffing and things like that. So if anyone was missed, if you know anybody that got missed, if anybody reaches out to you, just have them contact us and we'll get them taken care of. So, but we did have a lot of people. I guess a lot of people were home, not working, so had a lot of brush put out. But all in all, it went well. Big thing I want to talk to you about real quick, something that we discussed at length, and is the Dogwood Drive interstate situation. As you know, haven't been able to get anyone at TDOT to really talk to us about that. Well, that changed today. Had a conversation with, I guess yesterday afternoon. Had a conversation with a lady at TDOT. I don't know how it got on her radar, but she called me back. It's the most I've talked to anybody on the subject. She did indicate that, you know, as this project came up, that it was, even though there were two separate projects, they were kind of being viewed in the same picture. That's kind of separated as the state has as the state has begun moving forward, and it's kind of gone off in different directions. One of the things she did say that I thought was interesting was basically when the prior administration, when I say administration, I mean within TDOT, when all this first came up and they committed to doing this, they really didn't cover all the bases in terms of some of the safety studies and things they need to do. So they're a little bit behind the 8 ball on that. They do agree that the proposed design is certainly better than what we have now. So I do think they are going to still do a safety study on it, look at the crash data, but the consensus is that this is federal money, the money's there, and they will likely, we don't know this for sure, but they will likely go ahead and do it just as a design improvement, if nothing else. One question mark they haven't answered, if you've seen the survey, the original plans for the off-ramp included a traffic signal. TDOT is no longer of the position that that's necessarily warranted. They're going to do a study on that too, and just something that apparently there's an 8-hour window that you have to maintain a certain traffic count during that 8 hours. They're going to look at some things like that to determine if it's warranted, then they'll put it in. It may be a situation where they come back and say, well, we don't think it doesn't meet our guidelines, but if you want a signal there, we'll put it in, you pay for it. So we'll be getting more feedback on that. In terms of Dogwood Drive, TDOT is kind of the position that they don't think, just based on what we've done, that they don't see it as moving forward very quickly. And they said that we could let it sit a little bit longer, but at some point relatively soon we're going to have to tell them, yes, we're moving forward, or no, we're not. And if we go to them and say, well, right now we don't plan on moving forward, then probably when we did want to do it, we'd have to reapply for the project. But the way it's looking, the way it sounded, the two are not connected. It does sound like they're going to go ahead, at least with the next phase of the off-ramp. Like I said, they've done the survey work. Now they're looking at some of the safety things. So that's not etched in stone, but at least they're looking forward on that. And like I said, that's more progress or more communication than we've had in a long, long time. So I have a point of contact now, and she's been really good to work with. So hopefully we'll stay in the loop on that. But probably she said maybe a month or two, we could keep the LIC application open.
Okay.
But at that point, if we don't do something, then we probably would just need to send them a letter saying we're not going to do it at this time, and then they would just close that out, and we could reapply for that program later. So I'll keep you posted as I hear more about that, and that's all I have unless you have any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Bowling?
I do.
Ms. Wright?
Just to be clear, are you saying that she indicated that the ramp project is separate than the Dogwood Drive
Yes.
project? Two separate things?
Separate projects.
So whether we do Dogwood Drive or not, they're still going to do the interchange project? Okay.
Separate pots of money. Right now they're looking at it as a design improvement again.
Okay.
They're not willing to go out without studying it, saying it's a safety project, but they think even the design improvement would probably qualify for the federal money. So
Yes, because I remember at one time we were supposed to meet TDOT out there specifically next to the chiropractor's business because there was some issue with
Yeah.
vision sightlines in that area, and of course everything happened and that kind of got put off. So
Yeah.
that would be interesting to see that study when it's done. Thank you, David.
You're welcome.
Mr. Brown?
Just along the budget and for information purposes, did a little checking today out in Nashville and found out that they have their April projections for revenue. State of Tennessee is down $855 million. So with that, the General Assembly has scheduled to reconvene their adjourned session on Monday, June the 1st. And they think that some of the House committee members may report May the 25th to go over some pending legislative items. Two things that they will be talking about is, of course, the COVID-19 virus. Rumor has it, and of course we can't read all 100 and something of those people's minds, but what they're going to meet about is talking about two local government programs that's on the table that were in the, like we'd talked about, that were in the governor's budget, and two of them are maintenance of efforts with the school, and the school, they're talking about taking away all of the raises that were supposed to have been given in that budget to the teachers and going back the way it was. Also, some of the matching funds toward the highway departments that are on a maintenance of effort could be in jeopardy, and that there's a state law that every time a state employee gets a raise, that all county officials get a raise. And there's a move on that's going to take that away and out of his budget, which would affect the county budget. So I'm just throwing that out, that they're already cutting instead of trying to furlough. But you don't know what's going to come out of those meetings when they get together and find out that it may be worse than what they think. So I think again, when we talk with David, he's asking for help on the budget, that we have to be cognizant of the fact that whatever we've put in, even if we go with a continuing budget to get us through to the certified tax rate, I think that it's going to be on our shoulders to look about spending, again, the capital things, and dogwood being one of the capital things, I would assume, that we've got to be careful that we also may need money from somewhere else, and that we very well could. I don't know what we would do. I don't want to put it in there because they'll spread it on Facebook that Tony Brown said. But I think that when it gets down to it, week after next, and by the way, Facebook is the devil for all you people watching us out there. Facebook is the devil. But I just want to make sure, reiterate how important it is that we don't promise, and that our employees and our vendors and everybody don't take for granted what has been may not be what is.
We talked about last week, even if we go into continuing resolution, normally that means you spend at last year's spending levels.
Right.
We certainly are prepared to go into the new fiscal year with a spending freeze in place, with just essential. Another thing, and I don't know if you heard this, but we're kind of hearing from TCMA basically telling us, with these one-time grants that have been promised to the counties and cities, don't spend it until you have it. Because
it's in this same deal too, that anything that was in the governor's budget promising extra money will probably come out, because that came out of the rainy day fund, which now they need.
Yeah. Tough times in a lot of ways. We're just haven't even seen them yet. So.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Anyone else have anything for Mr. Bowling? Randy, do you have anything?
No, sir.
All right. Item number 7 is additional of items to the meeting agenda received after the close of the agenda deadline. I have not received any of those. There is no unfinished business. We'll go into number 9, new business. Item A is authorization for the city manager to apply for the 2020 U.S. Department of Transportation Build Grant to fund the development of a master plan for the Highway 7058 corridor. Mr. Bowling, this is one of the grants. I'll let you explain. Let me get the motion and I'll let you explain. Do I have a motion for this?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Motion by Ms. Wright, second by Ms. Stockton. Mr. Bowling?
Again, this is to fund a master plan, which hopefully would be the beginning stage of a future grant application to do work that would be identified through this planning process. Again, we're approaching this as 100% grant. which is what we're asking you permission to apply for tonight. You know, if at some point we are told that we're not eligible for 100% funding, we would take no action until we brought it back to you. So we're not committing to any match at all at this time.
Are there any questions on that? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Brackett,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Humphreys,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item B is the authorization for the mayor to execute the FY21 TDOT maintenance contract. Do you hear a motion for this contract with TDOT?
I'll make the motion.
I second.
Motion by Mr. Brackett, second by Ms. Stockton. Mr. Brackett, you have anything? Stockton?
It's the same as we've continued on where they pay us to mow.
Yeah.
Maintain.
Anyone else have anything? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Councilmember Brackett,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Humphreys,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item C is approval of the appointment of Jamie Davis to fill a vacated seat on the Kingston Park and Rec Board with a term ending June 30th, 2022. Do you hear a motion to appoint Jamie Davis to the Park and Rec Board?
I'll make that motion.
And I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Brackett, second by Ms. Stockton. Mr. Brackett? Anything?
Good man.
Stockton?
Yeah.
Council?
Mr. Mayor, just not on necessarily, but on the way we appoint people altogether, this, and we can change, and this may make some of you happy and it may not. You know, we have voted as a board to advertise for all these appointments on every board that we have. With the times as they are, Mr. McPherson, a question for you. Can this body go back and change that and only advertise on our website instead of spending money for advertising in the local media?
You all have control of how you want to do advertising, so my answer to you would be as long as it is advertising, as it is, as you can get the message out to the people. And if that's on the website, then I think you can do that.
Okay, thank you. I will bring it up at the next work session.
Well, Mayor,
Yes.
while we're on that topic, what does it take to change the term limits on some of these boards? Because sometimes I think a 4-year term is a long time when you appoint somebody and then they never come. They never come to the meetings and they don't participate, and then they're on there for 4 years. Do we need to reevaluate shortening the term or make some sort of stipulations? If they don't come for X amount of meetings, they're automatically off, or what? How does that work?
All that is goes by ordinances that we have. So.
But will we have to
just
change an
the
ordinance to change that?
Yeah, we'd have to change ordinances. Anything else?
Nope.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Councilmember Brackett,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Humphreys,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item D is approval to hold, postpone, or cancel the Smoke in the Water 4th of July celebration. Do you hear anything on this?
I'd like to make a motion that we cancel this year, 2020, Smoking on the Water July 4th event with tentatively rescheduling for next year to be able to have, due to not having the deposit up front, and we would have to use taxpayers' money to hold the deposit along with, I do believe that this would be very, very difficult to have any kind of 6-foot, it'd be crazy to police it. It would be very hard to do social distancing in 6 feet. And if we alter that by a vehicle, I think that would also be so demanding on our city as far as our police department to manage that would be extremely hard to manage.
Pretty long motion. Did you get all that?
Got a video.
Okay, I have a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Ms. Stockton, do you have anything else to say?
I guess I added that onto that. I was explaining myself.
Okay. Do you have anything else?
That covered it all.
Okay. Mr. Brackett, do you have anything?
No, I think it's a good idea. I mean, like you said, how you going to police it? And we don't know that we would get the money raised to hold it. And I hate it. But for a safety standpoint, I think it's best that we not have it this year. Come back next year, hopefully, and have it.
Council, have anything?
Question.
Ms. Humphries?
Just to be clear, is your motion fireworks only, or is your motion that we don't have any events of any kind?
I think the
Because
motion,
I tentatively,
I think the motion was to cancel the 2020 Smoking on the Water festivities. It was a
to
little bit
include
longer than that, but it
everything,
was-
encompass everything
That's
of
everything.
fireworks.
That's the Smoking on the Water is the whole celebration.
So does that mean if we cancel that, we can't have any activities of any kind on the 4th?
That is correct.
Because I had tentatively talked to the city manager and Chase earlier about a possible idea if restrictions are listed of something that we could do. It's still kind of iffy on what the restrictions are, but I'm just wondering if this motion's going to X out having anything, or just having the huge celebration that we would normally have, including fireworks.
I mean, I don't care to make an amendment, to the motion as far as I think Smoking on the Water is very clear on this event. So if there is an alternative event that can be within our social distancing that does not include the strain on the city as far as taxpayers' money, and it can be donations, then I'm all about celebration. It's not that I don't want to celebrate,
Right.
but I don't care to amend it.
That's what I thought you were talking about, but I just wanted to make sure before later on I come back and say something else, and then they say, well, we've already voted not to have anything on the 4th, so. But if we're talking the Smoke in the Water event at the park, at the gravel pits, at the fireworks, the whole shebang, if this is exclusive to that, that's just all I want to know.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm good.
Mr.
And that's
Bowles?
why that's why I put it specifically by the event name on the agenda, because, if council decides later that you want to do something on the 4th, that's fine, but we need to address Smoke in the Water first, just because of everything that's involved with that event. So, unless you all add or amend it something, we'll consider this vote to give us direction on the biggest things, the fireworks, and then, if you all decide as a body to do something else later, that's fine, but at least that'll give us the direction of, yes, we need to order fireworks, and no, we don't. So, if that makes sense.
Yes, it does.
Well, I guess that's why I was confused, because I thought we were just voting specifically on fireworks, sort of.
No,
We're
Okay.
voting on that event, the
Right.
fireworks and everything that goes with
Gotcha.
it. So the way I understand it, if this motion passes, Smoke in the Water will be canceled, and that's the vendors, the car show, everything that encompasses Smoke in the Water. If you all create a new event later, that's something totally separate, and that's your call to make. But
Okay, I'm clear.
okay. Mr. Brown?
Well, if we do that, then we're throwing safety out the window. You know, I thought that we were considering safety first until Facebook changed our minds and it's all about money. The city manager mentioned money the other day about how much it cost. It costs almost the same every single year. This year, we just don't have as much. And I think he sent a thing out talking about that, you know, 4th of July is on a Saturday, and we've got overtime that cost about $14,000 for cleanup on Sunday and all that kind of stuff. I'm not going to come in here and vote to cancel the fireworks and say that I'm wanting to cancel it because of the distancing, and then come back and you ask me to vote for something 2 weeks from now where we've got 3,000 people down there and we've got the same problem. I don't want to have anything. If we cancel this tonight for the 4th of July, I would not expect the city of Kingston to host any major event that gathered crowds until we know what's going on with this virus.
And that is what I'm referring to in the motion, is the smoke and the water is not something I feel like that we can have social distancing at, number one. I think it's almost impossible.
Do you have anything?
There's two issues. One is money. We cannot spend money we don't have, so that issue is pretty much settled. The second thing is, I for those who have said that we're ruining 4th of July, I think we need to look inward, go buy some fireworks from a local stand, gather 10 of your closest friends, have a cookout, make some ice cream, and come back next year. And that's all I have, Mayor.
Do you have anything else?
Randy, just one last thing, if I can, before you go to him. You know, again, I read all this Facebook stuff and don't reply, but there was one question out there that had over 200 and something, and needless to say, everybody on there, I looked them up, majority of them were outside the city of Kingston, and every single one of them said that they gave money, and we haven't seen any of that money going toward the money part. And I believe that the mayor asked our Parks and Rec director to check. If I'm not mistaken, I will not try to speak for him, but everybody has heard about this, and I think that we have pledged to date $4,500. Now, that's all these people that are going to give $25. Well, just call me and I'll give. Well, folks, if you want it the next time, give.
Yeah.
We did sample 5 of our larger donors. I think 2 said they would donate. 1 said they might consider in the fall. 1 didn't respond, and 1 said no, now's not a good time. So we did. Like I said, we just picked 5 of our kind of regular, larger donors.
Randy, do you have anything?
No, sir. No, well, I do kind of, because if we look at it, you add all that together, that's going to be over $40,000 with overtime and with the cleanup, policing, plus the fireworks, and then getting hit with the thing with the county. You know, we just ain't got the money for it. Plus the safety of everybody. Like Tony said at the workshop, if 3 or 4 weeks after somebody comes up with a virus, first thing they're going to say they got it at fireworks or to smoking on the water. That's all.
All right, thanks, Randy. I still think there's too much up in the air. There's too much. We don't know what Governor Lee is going to do, how he's going to react to stuff. And, you know, we get a lot of money set out there and something happens and we're, you know, who knows? Fireworks companies are probably going to be hurting a little bit this year too. So, all right, with all that, I ask you to call the roll, please, ma'am.
Councilmember Brackett,
Yes.
Councilmember Brown,
Yes.
Councilmember Childs,
Yes.
Councilmember Humphreys,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Stockton,
Yes.
Councilmember Wright,
Yes.
Mayor Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
All right. As bad as I hated you. All right, that's the end of the agenda, so we'll call this meeting adjourned. All right, now we'll go into the regular scheduled meeting of the Kingston Beer Board. I believe we have a couple people online for this one. Chimed in a little bit early. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll for the Beer Board?
Member Brackett,
Here.
Member Brown,
Present.
Member Childs,
Present.
Member Humphreys,
Present.
Vice Chair Stockton,
Present.
Member Wright,
Present.
Chair Neal.
Present. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes of meeting in March, and then also you've got two of them this time for the meeting we didn't have?
Make a motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Do you have any corrections or deletions to the minutes?
No.
Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Member Brackett,
Yes.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Humphries,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
7 ayes.
All right, new business. First time we've had business in the rear board for a while. So approval of certification of compliance, Krishana LLC to sell retail alcoholic beverages at 1202 North Kentucky Street. This being a little bit different than the way we've done stuff in the past. Usually the chief's here to give us recommendations. So I do hear a motion to approve this certificate. Do I have a motion to approve this certificate?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Brown, second by Ms. Wright.
And which one are we doing first, Mr. Mayor? I'm trying to get to the right one.
That is the Kashana LLC. It's probably the last one in the packet where I found it.
It's Krishna.
Krishna.
The location would probably,
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
would probably help me.
1202 North Kentucky Street.
So that's Zoomers.
No, sir. That is
Bootleggers.
Bootleggers.
Oh, so this is a liquor deal. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, it's beer.
But
Oh, yes, 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 yes.
all these look alike. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get to the right one. Okay.
Okay.
And this is off premises, isn't it?
Yes.
Thank you.
Are there any questions on the beer permit? I know we have a letter from Detective Kyle. He found no information of arrest or violations as pertaining to the laws of selling alcohol. And further investigation shows the business at hand Bootleggers an established liquor store and is currently in compliance with the City of Kingston's ordinance and resolutions. Are there any questions or anything about this?
As I understand, this is two separate things. The first one is different than the other three.
Yes.
The first one is for compliance with the state
Right.
for the liquor store. The other three are for,
Actual
right, okay,
beer permits.
and completely different entities.
Right.
We certify their compliance, we send it to the ABC, they actually approve the.
They do the
license.
license.
And the one with the liquor license, there's not a whole lot
We can do.
that we can
Right.
do because it's part of the state law that if they've got, that was that compromise with grocery stores that they now get to sell beer when grocery stores got to sell liquor.
Right. Is there any other comments or questions about this certificate of compliance? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Member Brackett,
No.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Humphries,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Okay. The next one got on here is approval application for an off-premises beer permit for Capital Retail LLC at 935 North Kentucky Street in Kingston. From what I'm gathering, we're changing names of owners on this one. This is the Zoomers Exxon right out here at the red light.
They're changing their name. Kelly could probably, Clerk could probably give you more information
They're
on that.
just kind of
but-
merging together and changing the name. It's the same people it's going to be around it. It's just a different name.
Do I hear a motion to approve this beer permit?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion by Ms. Wright, second by Ms. Childs. You also got in the back, there's three of these applications tonight. All three of them is the Zoomers Exxon and the two Rocky Tops. And you've also got in the back of the packet, the letter from Keith Kyle, who has done some investigation on it. And they are in compliance with the city ordinances and resolutions for sale of beer in the city of Kingston. Are there any other questions on this, Ms. Wright?
No, sir.
Mr. Childs?
No, sir.
Just looking around the room for you. Mr. Brown?
All right, Sandy, is there any problem that we've got the same manager for all of them? That came up once before, and this manager evidently is not local, but that's who we're supposed to go to, and Chief's not here. I don't know if Chief Montgomery can answer that or not, but we go to Pennsylvania to talk to anybody.
We will shut the business down if they have a problem, no matter where the manager is.
Okay.
So, no, I don't see a problem.
Okay. Okay, got answered. Are there any other questions? Madam Clerk, call the roll on the application for 935 North Kentucky Street.
Member Brackett,
No.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Humphries,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
Item 3 is approval of the application for off-premises beer permit for same people at 935 East Race Street. That would be the Rocky Top at the top of the hill. Do you hear a motion for this beer application?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion second. Are there any questions on this? It's the same deal with the same people doing it all over again.
Now, this location is
935 East Race
Morrison
Street.
Hill.
the one at the top, Morrison Hill?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
And they sell alcohol at this time.
Currently, yes. This is just change the name. It's not a new beer permit, no. Any other questions? Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Member Brackett,
No.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Humphries,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes.
One day. Item 4 is approval for the application for an off-premise beer permit at 614 North Kentucky Street. That would be the Big Rocky Top downtown. Do I hear a motion for this beer permit?
I'll make the motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
A motion second. Any questions on this one?
Nope.
Mr. Brown?
Have we got somebody on that may want to speak?
I can ask.
I mean, just
Yeah.
hit me that you said that there's somebody on.
Yeah, is there anyone on the conference call that has any questions about any of these before we can get the last one done? Doesn't sound like it, so.
May not
All right.
be
Are there any other questions on this?
Yeah. There's 2 more people checked in. I don't know who it was.
Yeah, I didn't catch the names either, Andy. Madam Clerk, call the roll, please.
Member Brackett,
No.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Humphries,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal.
Aye.
6 ayes, 1 nay.
All right, so all those passed. With no other, is there any more business to come before the beer board tonight? The longest beer board meeting we've had in a while. Meeting adjourned. All right, now we'll go into the regular scheduled meeting of the Kingston Water Board. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Member Brackett,
Here.
Member Brown,
Present.
Member Childs,
Present.
Member Humphries,
Present.
Vice Chair Stockton,
Present.
Member Wright,
Present.
Chairman Neal.
Present. To hear a motion for the previous minutes, we should have 2 sets of those minutes to pass.
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second.
Are there any corrections or deletions to the minutes?
None.
All right. Seeing none. Madam Clerk, please call her on the minutes.
Member Brackett,
Yes.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Humphries,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal,
Aye.
7 ayes.
Now we'll go into the utility director's report. Mr. Bowling.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The only thing I really had to report, other than my written report is submitted, and just want to touch base, follow up on an email I sent you guys about the latest on the rate study. Had a conversation with Ralph Tellis yesterday. They had a conversation with the comptroller's office, trying to get some idea of how they were going to proceed in terms of what comptroller is going to recommend to the Water and Wastewater Finance Board. As a whole, they were satisfied with the study. There were two issues that they had concerns over. One was the issue of the pilot and the reimbursement to the general fund. That they said that number, the size of that number was throwing up a red flag, triggering whatever they had, and their recommendation, which is pretty simple to do, was for us to start separating that. So it's not as high. They didn't have a problem as far as they communicated with either one individually. They just didn't like the way we presented that. So Ref Tellis is going to amend their report to them with those two numbers separated, and advised us that going forward in our budget that we separate that as well. That's really more of a housekeeping thing than anything, but wanted to report that. The other issue that we're still struggling with is the in-city, out-of-city differential. We know that's a sore spot with the state. They've tried legislatively several times to do away with those. They haven't been able to do that yet, but it's certainly something that's on their radar. We recommended lowering hours in the rate study. Or Ralph Tellis did, I should say, and they've kicked back on that, and basically they're taking the position with all utilities that if you're going to have a differential, you're going to have to do a detailed study, much more detailed than the rate study we just had, to justify it to the penny. That's going to be very costly, and clearly shows us that the state's going to fight those differentials until they get rid of them. So basically what we're going to do, I'm going to work with Ralph Tellis. We're going to come up with a couple different scenarios to phase ours out that we can present to them to see if they bite on any of them. Certainly what we hope they don't come back and say is, if you can't justify it, do away with it year one, because that would be about a $300,000 hit that we would have to absorb, and we don't think they'll do that. The ideal situation would be to them let us phase it in over time. Ideally, the idea I pitched was, we know in 2025, 2026, we have quite a bit of debt coming off the books, and if we could give them a commitment that yes, we'll go along, we won't fight you on this, we'll go along with doing away with the differential if you'll let us go until then, so we can offset it with that debt coming off the books, and it'd be a wash. We don't know what they're going to do. Obviously, like I said, we're going to have those conversations with them. Their board's not meeting until August, so hopefully we'll know a little bit more between now and then, but clearly this is not something that they're going to back away with. If we wanted to try to fight it, we wanted to try to justify the differential, then we're looking at a very expensive study to make our case to do that, and I just don't know that wouldn't be wasted money. It's clear where the state wants us to go. So anyway, we'll have more feedback on that, and I'll report back to you when I know, but just kind of want to give you an idea. Those were really the only two things that they've had any concern about. So that's all we know at this point.
Is there any questions for the utility director? All right, seeing none, we'll go into the new business. Item 1 under new business is authorization for the utility director to write off the account 1840-8 in the amount of $253.20 due to the death of the customer. Do I hear a motion to write this off?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Childs,
Second.
second by Ms. Humphries. Mr. Childs, do you have anything?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Humphries?
No.
Council? Madam Clerk, call the roll on item 1.
Member Brackett,
Yes.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Humphries,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal,
Aye.
7 ayes.
Item 2 is authorization for the utility director to write off account 4161207 in the amount of $454.26 due to the death of the customer. Do you hear a motion to write this off?
I make the motion?
Is there a second?
Second.
No other discussion. Madam Clerk, call the roll on that, please.
Member Brackett,
Yes.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Humphries,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal,
Aye.
7 ayes.
Number 3 is authorization for the utility director to write off account 35400-11 in the amount of $76.95 due to Chapter 7 bankruptcy. Do you hear a motion to write this amount off?
I'll make the motion.
Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? Madam Clerk, call the roll on number 3.
Member Brackett,
Yes.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Humphries,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal,
Aye.
7 ayes.
And number 4 is authorization for the utility director to write off account 8405-07 in the amount of $149.95 due to a Chapter 13 bankruptcy. Do you hear a motion to write this off?
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Motion, Ms. Humphries, second, Ms. Wright. Any questions? Madam Clerk, call the roll on number 4.
Member Brackett,
Yes.
Member Brown,
Yes.
Member Childs,
Yes.
Member Humphries,
Yes.
Vice Chair Stockton,
Yes.
Member Wright,
Yes.
Chairman Neal,
Aye.
7 ayes.
Is there anything else to come before the Water Board tonight? And this meeting is adjourned.
I'd like to call this Harriman City Council May the 5th, 2020 to order. Just want everybody to know that this meeting is held under the special authority granted by the governor's executive order, and it will not be open to the public, but it will be live streamed on Facebook and on BBB. Before we get started, we'll have a prayer by Councilman Wright, followed by the pledge allegiance to the flag. Councilman Wright.
Thank you, Mayor. Would you bow your head, please? Our Father, as we face these uncertain times here in our nation and throughout the world, our prayer is that you will be with us and that you will give our leaders the wisdom to know what to do and the courage to do what they need to do. May your Spirit touch the hearts of all the people, and your light and truth guide us all in everything that we do. We're encouraged by your word, and we trust our nation to your love and care. Thank you for all you have done already, and we thank you for allowing us to meet here tonight. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll, please.
Alicia Harris. Here. Buddy Holly.
Here.
Tim Johnson.
Here.
Kenny Me.
Here.
Sam Russell.
Here.
Lonnie Wright.
Here. Like to declare a quorum. Need a motion to approve the minutes of the April 21st, 2020 meeting. I'll make a motion. Motion by Councilman Wright. Second by Councilman Holly. Councilman Wright. Councilman Holly. No wonder everybody's looking at me, Councilman Johnson. I apologize. That's okay. Will you show that Councilman Johnson made that motion? Councilman Holly seconded that motion. And Councilman Wright did not hit me with his leg, so. Councilman Johnson, you didn't have anything? Yes. Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Kenny Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. Need a motion to pay the salaries? Motion. Motion by Councilman Russell.
Second.
Second by Councilman Meade. Councilman Russell.
No, sir.
Councilman Meade.
No, sir.
Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Kenny Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. Motion to pay the bills.
Motion.
Motion by Councilman Wright.
I second it.
Second by Councilman Johnson. Councilman Wright.
No, sir.
Councilman Johnson.
No, sir.
Floor is open for discussion. Call the roll, please.
Alicia Harris.
Yes.
Buddy Holly.
Yes.
Tim Johnson.
Yes.
Kenny Me.
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. As we go into reports, as you all know, we still are not allowing much people in to do reports. We'll still be getting those emailed to us to look over the police, the fire, the different reports. So, Dr. Carter, you have anything?
Since the last time we met, I participated in a seminar that we're based on COVID-19 sales tax and job vulnerability. And they have a data set for all of the state of Tennessee. So I took the tools and ran them with, you have to put in some assumptions, but I took the tools and ran them and came up with a sector by sector impact in Roane County. So it's going to be useful, I think, in making final determination what our revenues will be in the next budget period. So it's a useful tool, but it's not a model, it's a tool. Primarily because you have to put some assumptions in there to run it. So, but I do find it useful to look at the sectors, which, as you recall, possibly I sent out a draft memo relating to the top 10 revenues in the city. And so that will help me do a little bit of evaluation of and finalizing what those revenues will be next budget period. So, other than that, I've been working on completing paperwork for LGIP account and providing project. So that's it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments for Dr. Carter? Thanks, sir. Charlie Jones here for the rec department. They've got a lot going on, so I asked him to come and give a quick update about some of the projects they've got going on at this time, so you all are aware of what all we've got going on.
Well, just a few things we got. Probably give an update on Riverfront Park. We've got, they're starting the foundation. They come this week, Thursday, Friday, doing the concrete border. And next week, come put the foundation down. They're finally getting people out to do that.
You've got playground equipment or the park?
I'm sorry, well, this one here is actually the foundation for the playground equipment.
Okay.
So we'll be doing that one. We're actually putting a concrete board all the way around. And then we'll actually do that. We'll come and pull the foam foundation in that for next week. And we've been working with the Harriman Utility Board with Josh Gillespie working on the grant we have from NRCS. I think Kevin Helms has been working all together down there. We get the funding for that. You get the funding for the money for that. That'll be hopefully no more of that in a couple of weeks. And some other things we got going on. We ordered the fairway mower. They're supposed to be in here sometime this week to get that in. And we're trying to work on a baseball and softball season. We don't know if we're going to be able to do it or not, but we'll work with Kingston and Rockwood and Midway. Maybe we'll check in the 1st of June. We're allowed to do that. We want to kind of move forward with that. Maybe have like a 4 or 6 week season if we can go, if we're allowed to do that. And that's probably how it went.
Okay. Anybody have any comments for Mr. Jones for the Parks and Rec? I just want to touch base just a little bit about the park. I've been getting emails where Mr. Gillespie's been working with the NCR, NRC, whatever, about the funding, and as Mr. Jones says, we have been approved for the funding. The thing that I want council to be aware of, they're projecting over $1 million will be spent in the park alone, on the bank park. The estimates was in the email, and I didn't look at it, but it is, our part is going to be somewhere right around $300,000. So that's something we need to be aware of. That's something that I don't think we budgeted this year. And from reading this thing, it started May 1st, and it has to be completed by December the 31st or December 1st of this year. So they're giving you like 8 or 9 months to have this completed and done, and the money's spent. So just want you all to be aware that that's a $300,000 lick that we probably didn't put in the budget. Dr. Curley, you and Kevin could be trying to figure out on those funds. We may have put some in there. I don't think we did. I don't think we put that kind of money in for that bank. But that just gives you all an update of what we're going to be looking at. All right. Kevin.
We've got several things I was going to update you on tonight. Our major projects that we have going on at the present time. In case you're interested, after the meeting, if you want to come over and take a look, I've got a set of the drawings here. It should be a complete set of everything that's going to be a part of the LPRF grant for the splash pad in the community center, as well as the new playground equipment at Triangle Park. Designs, drawings. That is open for construction bids now. It opened up this week. We'll be opening them at the end of the month with the hope plans that council will have the bid presented to them at the first meeting in June for award to the lowest contractor. Also over here, if you're interested, there is a set of the plans for the Margrave Drive project. We still got a permit that we've got to get from TDOT, and then their review and approval of the plans in their finalized form. There may be a couple of very small changes that have been made to the drawings since this particular set was printed, but they are very minor. This will be very close to what we would actually construct, assuming TDOT gives their final okay. But they have reviewed it twice so far, so it shouldn't change significantly from this point to the time it goes to construction. So hopefully that will go to bid within the next 4 to 6 weeks. As Dr. Curley mentioned, he's been working on the LGIP account for the interstate lighting. That contract with TDOT has been executed, and as soon as we're able to finalize that with LGIP, that project will move into design, and TDOT will begin designing that. We also received a contract, and the mayor executed it and sent it back to TDOT for the rehabilitation of the Pansy Hill Bridge. That is a project that will be moving to design. That's what this particular phase of the contract calls for. That was one of the projects that was in the Governor Haslam's plan when they raised the gas tax a few years back. That was one of the projects that would be funded, and so it's funded 100% by the state. The city doesn't have to put any funding into the project. However, because we do own the bridge, because it's not on the state system, we do have to enter into a contract with them to allow them to do the work. So that's why there's a contract involved. We just recently received a 1-year extension on our home grant program. We've got several homes that are really ready to go to bid. Probably could have already gone to bid if it wasn't for the COVID situation that we're dealing with, and some testing that you need to do on the homes, and it's just really not a great time to be doing that, because ideally we would go into the homes to get ready to go to bid, and not be quite as stringent as they typically are in the past because of the environment that we're currently in. The CMAQ grant, which is the one for the signal modifications, upgrade, and timing. The request for qualifications for engineering services are ready to go out on that. The street committee will be reviewing responses that are received and making a recommendation to the council in the near future as to an engineering firm to do the design on that particular project, but that RFQ should go out sometime this month. Our paperwork is still moving forward very well with the USDA for the funding of this facility here, as well as the demolition of the hospital. So that's something that is still progressing at a good pace now. And also the design work is still ongoing for the Transportation Alternatives Program grant that we have to upgrade the sidewalks and the lighting along Roane Street from the Crescent intersection up to Georgia, there at the front door to Harriman High School. We did receive notification that we were not awarded the multimodal grant that we had applied for through TDOT, which would have provided us funding to do some additional sidewalks throughout the community. But we do still have a second phase of the Transportation Alternatives Program grant application pending that would be for additional sidewalks starting there at Harriman High School and going up Georgia back towards Harriman Gardens and eventually hopefully coming on around towards the community center is what our goal, long-term goal is for that project that will be done in several phases. We're kind of at a point where we've stalled with regard to the paperwork and dealing with FEMA. Kitty and I both have about pulled our hair out in dealing with this project and tossed it back and forth between each other. Nobody wants to deal with it anymore. And last week it just got to the point where I called our congressman's office and just flat out told him how much trouble we were having with the project. It's one of the most ridiculous situations that I've dealt with on any program throughout my career. So I'm not really sure what the outcome's going to be on that, but if nothing else, I've vented my frustration, and I think Kenny's as well, to our congressional office. TDOT also has design going on for the rehabilitation of the South Run Street Bridge. So that is kind of running concurrently with the Pansy Hill design work. And then lastly, I should be getting some information out to you soon as to what we kind of foresee our plans to be in the near term with regard to possibly reopening a few of the city facilities to the public, still keeping within the guidelines of what the governor's orders have been and what the CDC recommends. But we'll let y'all take a look at that and provide some feedback, and then we can kind of figure out if we need to make any adjustments to that. Also, it's something that is subject to change based upon the information that we receive and whether or not the governor or the CDC changes any of their recommendations as well. So I'll take questions if you have any.
Yes, sir. The Pansy Hill TDOT work, is that just the bridge or is it the road as well?
It's just the bridge.
Just the bridge. Bridge. Could use some work. Could anything else replace all the banged up guardrails, because all of them are been hit every one?
It may include a little bit of the approaches to the bridge, but it will not extend very far from the bridge.
Any questions, City Manager? Thanks, sir. We'll go into new business. The first item on the agenda, if it's all right with council, I'd like to take that off at this time. I did talk with the general manager at HEB today about this specific item, and I have a lot of questions. So what I've asked her is if we as a council could sit down with maybe her and some of her board members and let them kind of explain to us what they're proposing to do and how they're proposing to do it. I think we'd all be on the same page and a lot better off. So I've set a workshop up with them on Monday at 10 o'clock at HEB. Does that sound right? So any council member that wants to go, it will be at the down at the HEB building. The ones that don't want to go, we can have you call in on the phones that's there, and you can listen in. But basically, just so you all are updated with what you want to do. I just feel like when we're looking at this size money, we need to sit down and talk and figure out what projects they got going and where we stand with it. So if it's all right with the council, I'll take that off until after we have our workshop with HEB.
What's the date for that Monday?
Do what now?
What's the date for that Monday?
Well,
Yeah.
10 o'clock.
10 o'clock at their conference room.
That's on the second floor.
Well, I think they're going to be don't really have their meetings at,
I'll hope that
which is downstairs. That way we're separated and we've got room. So 10 o'clock Monday. All right, the other item on there, discuss and possibly approve resolution R0520-02, a joint resolution requesting Senator Ken Yeager and Representative Kent Calfee to introduce legislation allowing Roane County schools to start after Labor Day, Monday, September the 7th, 2020, as a safety measure concerning COVID-19. This is something that Rockwood has already approved. Kingston has it on their agenda to approve. And I think what we're looking at is a lot of these children have been confined in because we've all been confined in, and they're hoping as things start opening up, it gives them a little bit more time to be able to go on vacation or do something with their, I know we've been stuck in with their family, but it's just trying to give the kids a little bit more time. And it's looking at the safety aspect as we look at these numbers and they still continue to go up. So, motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Councilman Johnson. Second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Harris. Councilwoman Harris. Councilman Johnson.
No, sir, I don't have anything.
Councilwoman Harris.
I don't have anything.
Floor is open for discussion.
Who drew this up?
Rockwood, I think, is who drew it up. Well, discussion call roll, please.
Alicia Harris,
Yes.
Buddy Holly,
Yes.
Tim Johnson,
Yes.
Kenny Me,
Yes.
Sam Russell.
Yes.
Lonnie Wright.
Yes.
Motion carries. That is all on the agenda except for the council remarks. Councilman Russell.
I don't have anything.
Councilman Wright.
No.
Councilman Meade.
No, sir.
Councilman Johnson.
Yeah, just something real quick. Kevin, when we had that issue the other night with the fire department, it must have been a mess because I was getting calls left and right over it. So if we had a plan in place, it didn't go too well. So we need to be more coordinated and talk to each other and communicate with each other better, because from what I was hearing the next morning, it was a total disaster. So we got to do something better about that.
got a couple things. The first thing, Kevin, will you get out the,
And Ms. Harris.
man, I'm jumping around. You guys, this thing's got me all messed up. Our seating is messed up, so I'm not going in order here. Councilwoman Harris, do you have anything?
Mayor, I would just like to tell the council I'm excited about being able to support the city of Harriman for this brief period of time, and I'm open to help in whatever area you need me to help in.
Thank you. We're glad to have you be a part of us. Councilman Holly. All right. Now I can go to mine. A couple things real quick. I'd like to get the yearly evaluation sent out to everyone on the city manager. I think it's time we got to do that. I think it was maybe in February, so we'll get those out to you in the next couple of weeks, get them filled out and turned in, so we can have those. The only other thing I've got is I asked the city manager to give everyone a copy, and did you send Alicia? Councilwoman Harris? All right, we'll
I can't remember if I sent one the other day or not.
Okay, all right. Basically what this is, it's from the Office of the County Executive, and it's telling us how our funding will be changing a little bit as far as reappraisals, as to what we will be paying as a city. Not the reappraisals that everybody got in the mail. This has nothing to do with that and how those was calculated. But basically what this is saying is, in 1994, they passed a new law where the cities are held accountable to pay half the reappraisal during the reappraisal year. And they got letters sent to them. And in 1998, the county did just confirming that that's what's going on. So that's been going on since then. Well, I got a phone call about 3 weeks ago from the property assessor, and she informs me that the city of Harriman's reappraisal per year amount will become $44,000 and whatever, a little $44,000. And I said, why is it going up so much? And she said, well, they haven't been billing right, it wasn't done right, and, you know, the previous ones didn't do it. So we went back and looked to see, last year, this is what we got. It says the county has completed the review of parcels of property inside the city of Harriman according to the agreed reappraisal plan. The agreed reappraisal plan, which is what? They say they don't have a plan, but here's it says that they do. And this was April 23rd, 2019. Hereby request payment within 30 days of 3,656 taxable parcels in the city at $5 a parcel, which comes to $4,570. That was our part last year, $4,570. This year, $44,000 and some odd dollars is what it shows in here. I called the county executive, talked to him, and he really hadn't done enough study on it to say whether it was right or wrong, but I guess since then he has, because he's kind of agreeing with what she's saying. My only other problem is that reappraisal has been paid for by the county for all those years. They base that on the tax rate that they tax the citizens of Harriman. That's included in on your taxes. So my question to the county executive was, so are you going to lower the county tax rate in the city of Harriman to offset this number, so the city of Harriman will have to raise the taxes to pay for this amount of money? And I get a laugh, and well, we don't lower taxes. That's the answer I get. That's the answer every city's getting. In saying that, my feelings is, as a city, we're going to be taxed twice. You're taxed on your county, and then you're going to be taxed on your city to pay this bill. So all the mayors met last Friday, and we sat down and we talked about how we feel. We're all on the same page. We all are disputing it. We all are saying it's not right. It has already been paid for. It is already in on the taxes. It's not right. It's just another way to get more money from the cities. So what the other cities are saying is, we'll pay our fair part. You know, nobody's saying we won't. We always have and we always will. Our fair part. But when I get a letter that says you're agreed reappraisal plan in 2019, and then I get something that says we don't have an agreement. Well, one year we do, one year we don't, so I don't really know what they're doing. I just feel like the council needs to be aware of what's going on. This will be something that will not go away probably. It will be something that we may be in litigation with. I don't know. I hope not. I hope it's something that we can work with each other. The number one thing that we need in this county is working together as a team and as closely as we can. And, you know, we all know what's going on outside these walls. And then we get a bill that we don't even really know what it's about and they can't explain it. And when I talk to one says go to the other says go to this, and I ask for a meeting. Well, we can't meet right now because of the COVID-19, but we can do a phone. You know, this is a lot of money. It's about 5 or 6 cents on our tax rate, and it's not fair for us to put it back on our citizens when it's already on. That's my personal feelings. Now, I may be taught differently. There may be something I'm missing in this loop, but I don't think so. But I wanted you all to have a copy of it to look at it. We can discuss it. You all can tell me which direction you would want me to go. But I feel like that, you know, right now, it's not fair that we pay the tax for it, and then we pay it again. Where does that extra money go? And if you'll look, it shows that their budget is $900,000 a year. Is that $900,000 for just the reappraisal, or is that $900,000 for the whole office? If so, if you look at what we're all paying, you know, we're all paying a big chunk of that. So I'm just a little concerned that maybe they didn't understand it right, and we have checked. I've asked the city manager to call around to other communities to see what they're paying, to find out if this is going on anywhere else. And I'll let Kevin just kind of brief that real quick, what he's done in researching some of this.
Well, just a few of the places that I've talked to, I contacted a number of cities that they don't even pay for reappraisal at all. The county covers the cost entirely. But there are some that do pay. Our interpretation of the law is that we're responsible for cost of the reappraisal and only the cost of the reappraisal, not the entire office. And that's due once every 4 years, though you can agree to a payment plan so that you pay it equally within each fiscal year. That is what Maryville and Blount County have done, is that they've agreed to come up with a figure of what it is, divided by 4 or 5, however often it is that they're reappraised, and that's the payment that they make each year. MCAS agrees with our interpretation of the law. And then as far as give you something to compare it to, City of Spring Hill is located in 2 counties, Williamson County and Murray County. Williamson County doesn't charge the cities for reappraisals. Murray County does. They have 6,643 parcels in Murray County, and they paid $15,438 last year for those 6,643 parcels, compared to our 3,900 and some odd parcels that we have. The only other place that I have found so far that they're trying to make a similar agreement to what's being requested here is in Anderson County.
And understand, I'm not faulting the property assessor or the county executive. I'm not faulting anyone. I think that they went to a class that CTAS had put on for them, and that's what they was informed that they should be doing. And so, you know, I think that's what they're doing. But the problem is we have tried to communicate in part and tried to talk and explain, and it's not going anywhere, so, I just, you know, I watch what Rockwood, Rockwood talked about the same thing in their meeting. Kingston's gonna address it in theirs. It's just not fair right now. It's not, if it's our part, we'll pay it. But, I think it's already been paid by the taxes that the county draws, off the city, so I don't think that we owe that.
And just for the record, because I didn't mention all the places that I had talked to, just so you'll have it, in addition to Anderson County, we had McMahon, Hamilton, Blount, Coffee, Franklin, Williamson, and Murray. I surveyed.
And Anderson County is the only one that is even looking at this, and I understand that their property assessor went at the same time with this, with ours. Any comments from council?
I think we're on the right track.
Yeah, this seems,
Well, I will try to set up a meeting with their office as soon as they will allow it, and maybe we'll get some better answers, but until then, I'm not sure what kind of bills we'll start getting, but we'll go from there as we get them, and I'll keep you all updated. Anything else need to come before this council? Motion to adjourn. Motion, Councilman Russell, second, Councilman Johnson. Any opposed? All agree, aye? Aye. Any opposed, like sign?
Hear ye. This Honorable Commissioners meeting of Roane County, Tennessee is now in session. The Honorable Chairman Randy Ellis presiding. God bless these United States, the great state of Tennessee, and this honorable meeting. At this time, Commissioner Allen will give us a prayer. Afterwards, please remain standing for the pledge of the American flag.
Let us pray. Eternal wise God, our Father in heaven, once again, Father God, we come so humble before your presence, realizing, Father, that you're great, that you're perfect, and that we're all sinners, Father God, saved by your grace and mercy. Realizing, Father, that we need you, Father God, and we need you right now, Father, to lead us throughout this experience, Father God, this meeting, Father God. Let us conduct the county's business, Father God, in a Christ-like attitude, Father God, exemplifying those characteristics, Father God, to help our fellow man, Father God. Father God, as we stand here, we're mindful of the Henderson family, Father God. Bless them, Father God. Strengthen them, Father God. You know their needs, Father God. We know that you're still a healer and a provider, Father God. Be with us and stand by us. In the name of Jesus Christ, we do pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Have a cell phone. These are your first actions. We're going to try to use our voices for everybody. Can everybody hear me? Yes, sir. Yes. We're going to ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Bill?
Present.
Mary?
Here.
Brashear?
Here.
Cunningham? Here. East?
Here.
Ellis?
Here.
Gann?
Here.
Hendrickson?
Here.
Esther?
Here.
Hickman?
Here.
Cook?
Here.
Meadows?
Here.
Moore?
Here.
White?
Here.
Wilson?
Here.
15 present.
Seeing four, we'll move forward. We want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. I think one of the concerns we've heard amongst the commissioners and some of the residents at our last meeting, we held via the internet, was being able to have access for the public. We've been able to do that here with socially distancing people that wanted to attend. The school board, I understand, has a meeting here Thursday, and everything is perfect. I want to thank all the commissioners and the public for working with us during these trying times. Do I have a motion for the minutes of April 13th, 2020? Motion by Commissioner Cook. Second by Commissioner White. Commissioner Cook.
Nothing.
Commissioner White.
Nothing to add, sir.
Any questions or comments on April 13th, 2020 minutes? Being none, all in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, like sign. Motion carries. Motion to accept the committee report of correspondence. Motion by Commissioner Hook, second by Commissioner Meadows. Commissioner Hook.
Nothing to add.
Commissioner Meadows.
None.
Commissioner. Mr. Chairman, thank you. On number 4, Mr. Woody, you want to address that in your report?
I was going to talk a little bit about it.
That's great.
4 and number 5.
5, okay.
Number 6.
I just want to let you know I thought that you've done a great job of keeping the residents of Roane County informed during this time, and thought especially you did a good job in Knoxville representing Roane County at the mayor's gathering. So good job on that. Will you cover number 7?
Number 6, number 7, and 17 and 18. I'll speak on all those.
Okay. Can you address number 9?
Yes.
Any more questions or comments on the committee reports and correspondence? You will address number 9?
Yeah, be glad to.
Okay. And number 10, are we still operating under the COVID-19 guidelines?
No, we ceased that the end of April, technically.
So we have no one working from home any longer? For administrative leave, okay. And on 13, did you say you were going to address that one on the cleanup?
I can when we get there.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any more questions or comments on committee reports and correspondence? Seeing none, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Committee reports and correspondence are accepted. Madam Clerk, over.
Elizabeth A. Boswell, Tyler Davis, Benita Hamby, Mark Thomas Hudson, Sharon L. Newman, Billy Joe Runyon, Kim Z. Wall, Angela Denise Wood.
Motion to elect notary by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Henderson. I appreciate your wellness, Commissioner Wilson.
I did all that remark.
More questions or comments on the notaries? We'll call the roll since we are elected.
Bell?
Aye.
Berry?
Yes.
Rushier?
Yes.
Cunningham? Yes. East?
Yes.
Ellis?
Yes.
Gann?
Yes.
Hendrickson?
Yes.
Hester?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
15 yes.
Notaries have been elected. This brings us to the part of our agenda. We thought it was most importantly to have this meeting here tonight is the hearing of delegation. So if someone in the audience that would like to address the county commission, this is your opportunity. We ask that you keep your remarks respectful and under 3 minutes. And if you'd like to address the county commission, the podium is to my left over here to your right. Please step to the microphone and state your name and address.
Good evening, I'm walking a little slow, I'm old, and I'm working out in the yard. Is it working?
You got to turn it on the top.
I'm a mechanical engineer, not electrical. I said I'm walking slow because I've been working on my 10 acres and I'm old. But anyway, my name is Tony Byer. I'm on Bowman's Bend. You've heard me talk here quite a few times. I'm also representing Roane. It's a 501(c)(3) not-for-profit. We've been operating for about 9 months. We have 3 stated goals. We want to be an advocate for bringing broadband to this county. We want to help bring digital equipment, people will get computers in this county, and then we're going to start training programs to teach them once they have connection, equipment, and get them into learning how to use it. Last time I was here, I don't remember the number. I think we had distributed 17 computers. Now we've distributed over 90 computers in this county. We've affected, and that has encompassed 195 children, because we take down how many kids are in the house. It's something I can't believe. I've delivered computers. One home had 9 kids and one had them 8. And I looked in there and I says, I don't know where they keep them all. But that's another story. I'm not going to get into that. Another thing that might be interesting to you all Over 50% of these computers have been delivered in Harriman School District. I don't know what that means yet. We're going to analyze that data. But given that there's, what, 4 high schools, 4 school systems, if you will, over 50% have been delivered in the Harriman District. Now, I also want to say, last Tuesday night, there was a cable TV committee. I know it's an antiquated term, but that's the name of the committee. And there were 3 citizens there. I was one. And there was a lady there by the name of Rachel Steele. The people that were there, 3 commissioners were there. You heard her talk. She was asking the committee to get involved in having Comcast bring her broadband or bring her internet service. After 2 years here, my opinion was that was never going to happen. So we stepped in, got involved, and we cannot provide service. But we got Taylor Communications involved from last Tuesday night. Today, Monday, Brad Taylor was at her home installing internet, and she now has 58 up speed and 14 down speed. The lady is ecstatic, so she won't be coming back to the cable TV committee. Anyway, I just want to report on what we're doing, what we're trying to do. I'm retired. God has blessed us. We've done well. All I have is time. And I want to get out in the county and bring these things to the county. It's my mission in life now. I don't know if you saw it in the paper, but we saw an article about Judge Pemberton, I think it's the name, was holding court in a parking lot. We saw that article. Brad went there and installed internet in his home. This is what we do. And I got to tell you, I'm a little bit disappointed. Roane County News was at that Tuesday meeting. I read the article in the paper. It said nothing about what I discussed about Brad Taylor and Taylor Communications being able to provide service. We are undaunted by these things. We are trying to get the message out there. I don't get in it. We're a 501(c)(3). I volunteer my time. I've driven around this county to 92 homes. My car, my gas, I get nothing in return other than the satisfaction that I know I'm helping people in this county. I know I'm getting emotional, but we're for this county. We're here to do it. We just have to get the word out. So anyway, I'm done with that. Thank you for the time.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else like to address the committee?
Mr. Chairman, I just sort of like to echo what he's saying is I'm no longer in the dark ages. We've never had broadband down our end of the county. Now I can actually went and bought a little dot now. I can even have my dot talk to me some now once I get it installed properly. But it's great, and we're getting to a point now where a smaller and smaller portion of people, if you're getting any signal at all, you pretty much can get on the Wi-Fi with some Wi-Fi now. So it's opening up a whole new world for a lot of folks. And so those folks that you're getting computers to, they can get now and get that broadband to go with it. We'll be moving into the right direction. But thank you for what you're doing.
If I may add, 92 homes I've been in, and I'm shocked by this, but every one of them says they already have internet access. Because they're mainly in the cities. They're most of them in Harriman, and they have this, I'm not commercializing for the Senate, but they have this Internet Essentials. It's $9.95 a month, and most of them have that. So I'm shocked, because we finally, like Ron did, we just finally got it. After 2 years, we can now stream. We couldn't do that for 2 years. We had satellite, if it was raining, or the leaves on the trees now, we couldn't get it. So we're now streaming because of this Brad Taylor and what he's doing. So I appreciate that, Ron. But I'm shocked. I'm taken back to 92. Everybody has internet service. It's the people out, people Furnace, Coleman Den, where they don't have service.
Judge Pemberton, instead of in the parking lot, he'll now be holding it on his boat dock. More convenient.
Thank you.
Anybody else county attorney report.
We have a short report because there's been no court. The court has now opened up. We have several cases scheduled for June. I expect them to go forward. Not as quickly as they used to, but I expect them to go forward. Of course, I talked with one of the judges today, and he said that they anticipate the caseload to progress slower than normal simply because of the social distancing requirements and the limitations of people in the court. We ought to get started.
Any questions for the county attorney? Any questions for the county attorney? Seeing none, we're moving to the county executive report.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item number 4 of the correspondence is the budget committee minutes of April 20th. And you all may have some different comments about that. What I wanted to share was we're in the process, and the budget committee always has done when we start, is trying to value what one penny brings in. And as noted on those minutes, the value of a penny is about $133,000, $133,900. Outside Oak Ridge and Harriman, it's 103. If you're taxing outside all municipalities, it's 78,200. The budget committee has reviewed all the debt service. There is no new tax in the debt service, and there is a reduction of tax outside of Oak Ridge as Fund 156 is closed. So that is a half of one penny. So it wasn't a whole lot of money there. As these funds come to the end of their useful life, you know, we start reducing the tax in it. Sometimes the tax is transferred to other debt services. But what we had there is last year we started burning what reserve we had, and we finished them off this year. There's a small transfer of resolution of $20,000 or $30,000. That money goes to the next fund that's comparable in the same mission, and that would go into Fund 152, the excess money. But all debt services are recommended, no tax increase and a slight tax decrease for Oak Ridge. Anybody have any comments on number 4 right now? I'm going to go on.
So,
Mr. Wood, I got Mr. Perry and Mr. Higgins.
So Mr. Woody, on the, as I read the minutes, the hazardous duty pay that we were talking about, have we put it on hold, or we're waiting to the budget, into the budget process?
We're putting it on hold at this juncture because of the financial situation the county's in. So we will look back at it again probably in the fall after we close our year out.
So you're saying no tax increase, so we're gonna bring the neutral with the reappraisal?
No, that's not what I said. There is no tax increase recommended for the debt service fund.
Debt service, okay.
That's the only fund.
Gotcha, okay.
Through correspondence we get by that we worked on.
Missed it, thank you.
Mr. Higgins.
That half a penny debt paid off and that's for the city school system.
Yes, so Oak Ridge,
The Harriman,
Harriman, yeah, the Harriman City.
Harriman.
I think that's the Harriman City, yeah. So it's a half of one penny.
And that money's been transferred to where?
No, the excess money that was in the fund
Was transferred.
The tax was reduced. It was just eliminated.
Thank you.
And it was just, like I said, it was a half of one penny, so it wasn't.
Right. But it brought it more in line with other cities.
Yes. And just, you know, as we looked at debt service, 152 fund will operate next year and the following year, and then it will be gone.
How many pennies is 152?
I think we have 14, it's in that. Look at, it's 16, and then with a certified rate, it'll be 14 3/4. And what we'll start doing on that one is tapering that down more and more too. But you know, we just got 2 years, so. And it doesn't have, as you can see, if you're looking at the page 50 of our report, it's just $150,000 in it. It makes a $1.5 million annual payment. So no 2 of them are revenue anticipation notes, but we have not borrowed, I'm aware of in history probably, the revenue anticipation notes. We used to call them tax anticipation notes. So we filed one for the general fund, one for the school fund. At this time, we really do not think that we'll have to invoke those, but it's something we're doing because of the pandemic and how revenue may be at the state level and the county level, just preparing us in case we need to. If in fact the money's borrowed, it would have to be borrowed. It would be borrowed in July, August, September timeframe. And what you do is you borrow money so you can make salaries till your tax revenue comes in once the property tax levies out, and people start paying a little bit in October, a whole lot in December, and then a lot in February.
Now, and then, Ron, you tell me, the expiration was,
it expires, all money borrowed under these type of revenue has to be paid off during the year it was borrowed, because it is borrowed for cash flow purposes only, until the tax revenue comes in to replenish it. And let me, and right quick, while I'm on there, the budget committee also recommended Fund 116, solid waste, with no tax increase, 128, the recycling center with no tax increase, and it continues to work on Fund 171, capital projects. So as we work on individual funds, if they have a capital adjacent program, we'll work those together. 171 gets wrapped up all in. That's all I have for number 5, unless we have any questions.
Yeah, I got a question. Might not be the time. Tax rate went up a certain percentage.
If you'll maybe hold that, I've got a couple on it too.
Awesome. Mr. Meadows?
On the revenue anticipation borrowing, after that every year, is that the fiscal year?
Your fiscal year. So if you borrow, so you're operating in July to June budget next year. So if you need money to make payroll in August, you borrow that. And as soon as the property tax is paid, you replenish it or pay it back. We have a strong fund balance right now that we should not have to invoke that, but just to be overly cautious, we're putting this before the commission.
Just one clarify. Thank you.
Mr. Woody, on our FEMA stuff, are we any closer to?
I've got a report on that if you want to hold that.
Very good. Thank you.
Okay, number six, that's just a summary of today of some of the things that's been done on the COVID-19 action plan. There's a lot of others that take place. We're just kind of keeping a running total. Number 7, Mr. Berry, if you'll flip to number 7 there, you can. It's on page 64. This is our FEMA disaster. Now, what we did here is, and Amanda Daugherty's back in the back, she's put a lot of this stuff together. We worked with her. You have FEMA disaster programs out there. This deals with only part of that disaster that dealt with the $10 million. Okay? Instead of just bringing all these little programs in that we have to do year in and year out if you have floods and fires and various things, we just wanted to focus here on the $10 million that was approved to borrow to get roads done. So if you look at that, and I don't know if we can or cannot, but we have 8 projects that we started with that came out with $8.2 million. We rounded it because we didn't know what some of them were, 10 million. Of those, the new estimated cost is a little over $4 million. So it appears that there's going to be $6 million of this loan that we're not even going to tap into. Okay? And we'll be at $4 million. One of the projects, it ended up finding out, of course, was transferred to the city of Harriman, because it's in another jurisdiction. That had a cost of $1.5 million. The other real big project was Airport Road. We had it initially at 1.8, and then it came to like 5.4 million. All the engineering work on that one came down to this. No one could assure with any certainty that if you spent $5 million, you're not going to have the same problem next year. So, everybody decided, from the road superintendent, staff, us, FEMA, engineers, the best thing for us to do is get the road open, spend what we have to make it, put the asphalt down, which FEMA will pay for the asphalt. It came to the conclusion that even the $5 million project, probably all you could get from FEMA was $150,000. So we decided to do $150,000 worth of work, which basically puts the road back into the same condition it was before we had the slide. Recognizing that next year, next week, it could slide again, but we could have spent $5 million we could slide again, because they've been working on the interstate since 1970, I guess, and they've been working on it every year, and that's the same problem we have here. So once you took that out of the equation, you reduced the need for $10 million substantially. The other big project that really came into question was Ridge Chapel. And again, it was FEMA's interpretation is that we worked with them all of these times. Yes, that's approved, that's approved, that's approved. And when it came down to it, they said, well, really what we're going to do is approve the base of the asphalt, and some debris removal. So that one is coming in substantially less than we spent. And because of that, it made us rethink Bowman Bend. And we're getting to sign off as much as we can from FEMA on that, though it's still risky. Now, it appears that of all the debris that was moved on Ridge Chapel, there is high probability that we will not really be out any money there either. So that's a good thing. What it's going to come down to, though, ladies and gentlemen, is that once we receive the final engineering for Bowman Bend, we're going to have to make a determination, do we do this with the risk of FEMA saying some of this we may not qualify? And it is a one-lane road now that has signage. One thing we did find out is I guess when we were building Poplar Creek up there, that was not part of the disaster. We ended up buying road information signs, and we get to rent those to ourselves on these projects with the hope that FEMA will reimburse us for the rentals, and that's a substantial amount of money. So you have a spreadsheet there. We can go into it in more detail. I can run you the column and the road numbers of what's there, but summary. We're estimate right now at $4 million instead of 10. That's subject to change because of Bowman Bend. Of the $4 million, there's a high probability that we're going to get about 80% of that we anticipate. It will be through a couple of different pots of money, but I don't care what pot it comes out of as long as it comes to Roane County. So we're hopefully we're okay with that.
I got a question, Mr. Meadows.
I'd like to go back real quick to the airport road situation, and
it's finished too, by chance. It is finished over there.
And this may not be a question to you, but during the discussions of this project with everyone, Bob Roane, superintendent, has there been any more talk about maybe rerouting that road as a long-term fix?
And that was a question some of y'all may have known. There was a discussion of rerouting the road, and then basically acquiring property and working with the state. And the short answer is, it looked very complicated, and I don't think that there was any other discussion there.
All right, thanks.
When FEMA comes in, determine the amount of damage, is private property included again on that estimate?
That is what we had to acquire, and Amanda, help me if I'm misstating, but we had to start acquiring property on Ridge Chapel and moving debris, and that wasn't part of the road.
Well, what I'm getting at is,
Is that a short answer? Is that right? That wasn't part of the road. They said, well, that's not part of the road. The road's what's damaged. Well, we had to require these to put in a 2-foot slope, then move all this debris, and it became.
But is the, like, somebody's property that was damaged because of the storm included into the county?
No, it's not.
Okay, thank you.
Also, just want to reiterate for those maybe that's watching, this money was not borrowed on tax increase for that, just to clarify on that.
Yeah, the intent was that we had enough revenue really coming in to pay the interest amount. We would have enough FEMA money to pay the repayment of the debt, and we generate enough from FEMA, and then our own costs that would basically pay for the indebtedness.
Yeah, so we're coming in on the cost as a free benefit to us.
Yeah.
So we'll repay that 10 million then as soon as we get FEMA's filed.
We may have to repay part of the 10 million before we get FEMA's reimbursement, the way the notes are. So, I mean, we have fund balance there to be able to do that. As long as we can cash flow it, we can do it. But what we're going to work, I mean, this becomes complicated with the loans. We're making payments on $10 million, and we're going to borrow 3 of the anticipated 4. So it's probably.
That's what I'm saying. We'll be paying that back.
Yes.
So we don't pay the interest.
Yes.
And part of that airport road, part that was in Rockwood, is it at the lower end there? It was not affected, or are they putting money in?
It was affected, but I'm not so sure what Rockwood was doing to it. I think once we all decided that, hey, they said we're not going to spend $5.4 million, I think everybody kind of decided to do their respective part of the road.
Thank you.
Number 17 and 18 is correspondence that hopefully some of you all received in the mail from me. We filed them. It dealt with the reappraisal costs. There's been a lot of discussion in the community. And not the reappraisal project itself, and Mr. Bell may be alluding to, but just the reappraisal in what you build a city. So there's a resolution filed for this. What these correspondence was really trying to do is, in the absence of a contract, be prepared. So we probably need to get a contract together. Connie's department is kind of required to bill based on what the assessor said the cost of these reappraisal programs are. And the cities have been paying substantially less than what a calculated bill would be. So we were just saying, okay, look at this. Let's have some discussion so we can get this resolved and get a contract in place. There is no contract that we have discovered to date on this. Might have been some years ago, but unaware of it. So other than that, there's a group of resolutions that have been filed, and we're glad to try to answer any questions on those when they come up. Mr. Chairman, if nothing else, that concludes my report.
Mr. Bashir.
Yeah, I have a question on this thing, on this reappraisal. It's good, sometimes we go, but we've got a virus going around now. It's actually tearing this whole country apart. I think due to the fact that this virus and the problem that we're going to have in the future, and it's plain to see that we're going to have people lose stuff over this non-employment stuff. I don't think the appraisal should have changed at all. I don't think we need to go to the cities to ask them for a lot more. I think if they're going to do it, they need to negotiate before they bring it back to us to vote on this thing. That they need to negotiate a fair price as to what's going to do, and that not give them the whole blow thing at one time. And then I've already talked to one of the mayors, and the mayor told me that he's willing to talk. I've talked to another one, he's willing to talk. Can't talk to the other one, he don't want to talk. So, but, you can't come in here and assess a city and raise them from $5 to $40 in one whack. It's not right. It's not, well, like I say, we shouldn't be raising anything, assessments or anything until this thing has cooled down. That includes the assessment itself, which we've been set over the phone calls I get. We set the rate. We do not set the assessment.
but the assessment needed to stay exactly the same until we get over this, and anything else needs to be the same. And as far as this right here, they need to negotiate before they even bring it to us, you know.
Well, there's a resolution filed, and again, it's like I may have said in one of the letters, that if I suggest something to the commission, half of y'all think I'm too low, half of you are thinking I'm too high, so that's really something that you all have to get some direction on. And if the reappraisal process you want it to change, you need to talk to your state legislator on it. And we have not sent the city a bill on particular costs at all.
I did reach out to the property assessor last week. Some of y'all might have seen the email asking her to be present here tonight to answer some of these questions. She texted me earlier and said that she's having to work over tonight and the rest of this week to get her informal, I guess it's appeals in place. I wanted to pass along to the public, if anyone was here, her phone number at her office is 865-376-4362. And there's not much that this commission, or this executive, or anybody that's really here can do anything about the property values that's come across. That's solely for the property assessor's office to assess the values. Mr. Berry.
Mr. Woody, last month we had several pieces of correspondence on the silver car. And it seems as though this month there have been a lot of emails going between the ecology group and the ERB about the silver car. And then I think there was an email saying that no one from the ecology group could serve on the ERB.
No one on the environmental review board. I mean, since there was so much controversy to one extent and so much things were not going well between two organizations, okay? One of them is an organization of this body. The other is an independent organization. So I notified the environmental review board that if you're on an environmental review board, I will not appoint you to the if you're on this, the Watts Bar, Ecological, whatever, I will not appoint you to the environmental review board. And I think that really calmed down the environmental review board because they had been put under a lot of pressure, a lot of concerns, and they did not think that they were really being treated fairly because their purpose is a whole lot more broader than the Watts Bar Ecological Group. So I just said, hey, let's make this simple. You know, if you're on the Environmental Review Board, I'm not going to appoint you to the Environmental Review Board if you're on this other board.
So will the Environmental Review Board take over the fight with the silver car?
The Environmental Review Board is broad. It deals with a little bit of the car. It deals with a whole lot of Department of Energy. It deals with TVA. It deals with very broad environmental issues. It helps with Superfund sites that we have in Roane County as they review those documents. So you have in Roane County a group that I think that this body has funded in the past that deals with the Asian carp. So I don't see the Environmental Review Board taking up the charge on the Asian carp. Their job is to bring things to us, which they did on the Asian carp, and this body voted a resolution based on the Environmental Review Boards. But, they're not going to go out there and start lobbying Nashville and the federal government. That is not their job.
So who will do that?
Well, you got the Watts Bar Ecological.
Which the folks who were leading the fight and who had actually gotten letters to the White House on our behalf probably aren't going to do that any longer.
Yeah, it was like Tim Joseph is going to resign from the Environmental Review Board. He's up for appointment. So you can make your choice. He's going to stay with that Watts Bar Ecological Group.
You're sure of that?
That's my understanding.
Well,
the email I saw.
I'm just saying.
I believe he should stay there.
If that's where his passion is, that's where you're not.
Well, and that's where his passion was. But I think perhaps the way the thing was handled, it wouldn't surprise me that that we don't get a resignation letter from him. And the only thing that concerns me is we've all seen what the agent Carper going to, the results of that.
Yeah, but he can,
he was pretty much a one-man show on
resigns. If he resigns from the Washbar Ecological Group, he doesn't resign to you all. That's not a board of this commission.
Yeah. The Washbar Ecology Group? Yeah.
I don't think it's a board of your alls.
Well, I thought it came out of the old. It came out of. Okay.
So that's a 501c3 nonprofit.
Okay.
We got Mr. Brashears and Mr. Moore.
Why we would make the way change part, I don't know. The thing is on the assessor, as far as tax is concerned, how many businesses or industries do they have in Kingston County versus the 4 cities in Roane County? And if you don't work at one of the plants, Oak Ridge or TVA or something like that, you don't draw a whole lot of money. I mean, you draw good money, some jobs, but not a whole lot of money. And we don't need it. If anything else at this day and time, like I said, somebody needs to go nice and tell them, you call, we're trying to run our budget on the way you're trying to run it. We need to run our budget. They need to keep their nose out of our business and let us take care of our place of problems without having to introduce more problems to it. We've got enough as it is. The problem needs to be leveled out right now under this virus. It needs to be held. We need to hold everything that we've got on a straight line, everything. It don't need to even go up, nothing. It don't need to be put off on somebody else either. So as far as I'm concerned, we need to, don't ask me for any more money. I'm through. I'm just like Mr. Moore down there. Thank you, sir. You've been smart all along. Mr. Moore.
Let the record strike that. Don't take a vote.
To clarify as best I can, it started with the weed, grass in the river to start with, and I think that same group, we never did meet but a couple of times, and Tim Joseph was in there at that time as we started, because I was acting chairman on a couple of meetings, and we just didn't kind of went away for a while. And I think the heart kind of came on the back of that same group of people, but we, the chairman, did not reappoint that board this past year. I think we had a little discussion about that one night, so I don't think we formed it, but they had done that 501(c)(3) company, I think, out of that. But if I could, it seems like I read here, I believe, on the agreement between the cities, the cost, we've worked up through for 4 years, I guess, to the 5. This would be putting a contract in place for the coming next 5 years long, and billing they would be getting would be maybe for this last year and the 5 years. That's kind of
it. I mean, we'd have an agreement how do we finish out this 5 years, and then how we're going to treat the next 5.
That'll be the next 5.
That's a very good understanding of it, yes.
Thank you.
Anything else on that? Mr. Beck?
Back to the assessment. We don't have much extra that's going to bring in yet. Have you wrapped your mind around it yet?
We really think it's nominal, nothing, because doing a reappraisal, and it's done every 5 years by state law, in Roane County, every 5 years. It is a revenue neutral program. So if you look at the budget committee minutes, you see the tax rate of the debt service fund last year at 16 cents, and now it's at 14 3/4. That is the adjustment that takes place at the end of the day. So once you finish the reappraisal process, you work with the state to certify a rate that generates the same amount of money as the old rate. So and I'm going to try to call this from memory, where our outside of all of our cities rates 268. Our gut feeling right now, there's a lot of changes that will be made through these informal hearings, the formal hearings, corrections that they're finding. But right now, we think that rate's going to be between 242 and 245. So automatically, all rates go down. Now, if you're in a financial crisis in a county, or you need more money, you can raise it off the certified rate. But you have to have a separate public hearing to say, okay, we know that this is the rate that should be set to generate the same amount of money. We're needing another whatever, and so we're going to raise the certified rate. Now, what happens though, and I don't want to, everyone probably knows this, the same $32 million gets received in the county, but it gets redistributed. Some areas are growing a whole lot faster than others. What you saw, and I've said this to a lot of people, the last 20, 25 years, it was the lake property. It was going up 50, 60, 70% every 5 years. You had certain parts of the county that was going up 10%. So during all those years, the tax burden was shifting off the 10% folks to the 50, 60, 70% folks. And, that's kind of what took place. The same amount of money was generated, it was just coming from different taxpayers. So that's what the reappraisal is for, is to equalize the distribution of the collection of the tax based upon the respective values in those respective areas.
So, who's over where that tax hits the hardest?
The last 20 years, it's been probably no question, it was the people who had properties on the lake, the big developments, the rural part of the county. So the last 20 years, probably that has got so high that it has probably softened a little bit.
Who makes that decision?
The assessor. And the
Assessor. So she's
over all that.
So she tells what, who goes up, who that goes up, who's going to tax more, who's not going to tax more. Is there a standard that she's using, like a certain percentage across the board that she's going up on people?
No. It has nothing to do with how much yours went up. It's the question is yours now relatively priced to what the fair value would be? Yeah, because you got to understand, your lake property there for a while, some of it went up 100%, and somebody else went up 10%. Well, does that mean that the 100% was wrong? Not necessarily. So it all changes based upon what's happening in comparable properties and areas of the county.
And that's why I said earlier in the meeting that the reassessment applies directly with the property assessor. That's why I thought it was important that she should be here.
It's very important. She should have been here. The people are very upset. I know a lot of elderly people that can't hardly come up with it. Some of them going up 30%, 20%. It's ridiculous. They had no clue this was coming. And then it all of a sudden hits. We need to do something that if we decide to do this, and for me it comes at a funny time because nobody's running for that position, then people start calling, So my political wheels are rolling, and we've got to forewarn people. We have to forewarn people before this happens. This is coming at the craziest time America's seen in the past 50, 60 years, and we hit right over the top, and there's no way out. There's no way out of what we've done to them. So appraisal goes up, then the state and you negotiate.
No, I have nothing to do with that.
Property assessor.
So the property assessor and the state negotiate.
No, they don't negotiate. There's a formula out there.
Okay.
There's a strict formula.
So we won't get any more revenue in no form or fashion.
Let me just qualify the revenue. The only revenue that you pick up is the new construction that took place the last 12 months. That does not go into the factory. Just like every year, if there's new construction, you pick up the new tax revenue on that. That's the only thing in the whole equation that it'll go out and say, this is the value of new construction, you're gonna take that out. And then this is your certified rate. And just for clarifications now, the values were all at January the 1st. And in March of this past year, you all voted unanimously for the next 5-year plan.
Hold on a second, Ms. Cunningham first.
I'm still on. Okay. I'm still mulling it over. So this resolution that's coming up, this 02, or the one that negotiates with the cities, what does that do for us?
That's what we build the cities per parcel.
Yeah, I suggest we just talk about that when we get to that resolution.
So we don't, I'd rather talk about that now.
Well, that has nothing to do with property value. That's got to do with what we build the cities to do the service. And again,
we negotiate with them, so they help offset the cost of the cities help offset the cost.
I mean, if somebody wants to put that on the floor, I would be glad to go through that discussion.
I see.
We probably just need to wait on because there's a lot of issues regarding this that we probably.
I want everybody to be clear. I keep hearing this. I've heard this from the public, and you all have probably got phone calls. This county commission, this county executive, we have nothing to do with reappraising property. That all lies within the hands of the property assessor. We can't override what she says. We can't do nothing what she says. We can't get in and say, you need to change this. The whole reappraisal process lies with your property assessor. It's kind of different.
It was mentioned a while ago that there was a hardship put on elderly. Is there no freeze on the elderly tax in the county?
Yes, for the elderly veterans, there is a tax freeze program that they can register with the trustee, and the tax is frozen, and some of that is paid from the state to us.
And that's still applicable back.
Yes, it's still applicable.
Commissioner Moore.
Actually, the new rate, and I don't see how they took my property to even everything up this year, but it won't bother you until next tax year before your assessment comes in. I've had my share of calls too. I don't think mine is valued what they got it at, but so what? You know, I keep doing some guys minuscule to some of my neighbors. I guess I live around a bunch of people that live on the lake, but I don't, so I guess that wants me in there. But when we come with that, will be next year. When we set our rate next year, will be based on what this assessment is that you wind up with, that you don't challenge or whatever gets set. Now, I don't know if there's still time for that or whatever. I thought I wanted that office twice, but I'm glad I didn't. Good Lord knew I didn't need it. I ran for it twice, but I'm glad I didn't get it. I thank you. That's very.
You know, the other side of this, and I think it happened to us in 2010, we had an 11-cent tax increase to go the other way. 2015, you had to go the other way. So that 11 cents has been built into that tax rate. So fortunately, when things are good, you at least can bring it down some, because that 11 cents has been on since then. So it works both ways.
More questions for the county attorney? Second county executive.
Got one right.
Quick question, you're talking about, was it 14.5 cents that we're going to roll off in 2 years?
It's in 2 years, yeah.
So are we earmarking that now for other projects, or are we going to give that back to the?
We're not, I mean, it's just.
It just goes off, and then we can say we'll either take it off of the.
Yeah. At the time we do those budgets, you look at it.
I'd like to see attached, some of it given back to the public one time in my life.
What's spending so much money?
I'm good, thank you.
And I guess mine is more of understanding of, but I think the tax assessor needs to come, I'm ignorant of it, and then I start studying it myself. The only thing I find out is that the separation of power, revenue, she works for the revenue commissioner, and gets her guidelines from there. But I did notice one thing in particular that by law, Tennessee Code at 6701503, says the county commissioner can't even run for that office. So Stan, you had to resign as county commissioner because to even be
Before I decided to do that.
So, but as I try to read and understand that formula, I just can't wrap my mind around it. So somebody, if they could, because I'm fielding phone calls, while their property went up $160,000 in 5 years. So, and I don't have the answer.
Let me say this that I did learn this year that I haven't seen before, is the Greenbelt property has its own table, land table. So your auditing, the appraisal of Greenbelt property doesn't really mean anything. It's really the value of the land table. Your value of the Greenbelt property appraisal can be reduced, and your assessment can go up because the table that is apparently prescribed by the comptroller's office is going to value about all pasture land at the same as all. And that was the oddity that I saw this year. So there's a lot of nuances to this thing. So
would everybody be maybe open to maybe a day or two before our next meeting, maybe try to have a workshop on this part of it out there?
Either her or somebody from the state one. I need to know the process.
Just real quick, I think you touched on this a while ago, you gave out Molly's number, and I think even one who approaches us with questions, we can't answer. Like your $160,000 increase in your constituent, just return the bond. Because we agree, disagree, it doesn't matter, they estimate that.
Well, and they said they'd been over and argued that 5 years ago on the last increase.
But there's an appeal process on that.
So, I mean, but I'd like to have a better understanding myself of what the metrics is that we go to. Hey, mine went up too.
Mine did too.
True. So.
If you set that workshop up, I think it'd be very valuable.
Moving on, we'll go to special orders, and right quick, county attorney, if I'm fair here somewhere, okay? We're getting ready to do a confirmation of appointment that comes to my attention. I serve as chairman of the 911 board. Also, we had a vacancy on the 911 board. Mr. Donnie Evelyn had resigned from the 911 board because he'd come off the fire board. The 911 board has accepted his resignation. I'd like to read his resignation to the county commission and forward it to the clerk for our record. And that way, I think it's best that we accept his resignation before we make the appointment. So I'll read that with you. I've already emailed it to Ariel and Ben, so you can get that in the packet. They can email it out to you all if you'd like to see it, but I'm going to go ahead and read his email. It says, reference 911 for Randy. All are doing well here on the farm, as you probably are aware of my retirement position at the Roane County Fire Board on March the 10th, 2020, that effectively removed me from the 911 board. If you feel the 911 board needs a letter of resignation from me, you consider this email as such. Regards, Donnie R. Evelyn. So would I have a motion to accept this motion? Motion by Commissioner Henderson, second by Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Henderson.
We appreciate the many years, I think it's like 20 years he served. And we look forward to hopefully many years with people who'll be a good asset.
Commissioner Wilson.
No, I concur with that. I appreciate his time that he's dedicated towards that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I served under Mr. Evans for 20 years, and they were still fine chairman, board members, and unless he's forgotten, there's a state statute that says he's still active until he is replaced. So
he might want us to go ahead and do that replacement in that, because by statute, he can't come off until he is replaced.
Okay, anybody else want to accept the resignation of Mr. Donnie Evans? Not, all in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. We will accept the resignation of Mr. Donnie Evans. Our next confirmation, appointment of Keith Farmer to fill the 911 board seat due to the resignation of Donnie Evans. The term will expire December 31st, 2021. Motion by Commissioner Hendrickson, second by Commissioner Wilson. Commissioner Hendrickson. Commissioner Wilson.
No, we opened this up, and I think they all concurred that, and Mr. Farmer's willing to step up and take this role, and we appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments for Keith Farmer to the 911 board? I'll call the roll, Madam Clerk.
Bell? Munoz?
Yes.
Terry?
Yes.
Rushiers?
Yes.
Cunningham?
Yes.
East?
Yes.
Ellis?
Yes.
Gann?
Yes.
Hendrickson?
Yes.
Hester?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
15 yes.
Mr. Farmer has been appointed to the 911 board. Moving along, old business, resolution 4/2005, resolution appropriating funds to Knox County to clean up nuisance and dilapidated properties which have been court ordered to be cleaned up. We would, no objection. No objection, we'll withdraw 4/2005. Since no objection, we'll move along to new business. New business resolution 520 CV 19-05, a resolution to the Roane County fund balance policy. Motion by Commissioner Hook, second by Commissioner Meadows. Commissioner Hook.
I defer to our county executive to explain this resolution.
We just have a number of policies we thought from the budget committee, all the directions of the budget committee. Kind of suspend these policies in case we are in a financial position that we have to, so that we don't meet the guidelines. The county is audited from the comptroller's office to the policies that we've adopted. And if we're outside of those policies for any reason, they can say things about us that we don't appreciate. We're just saying, okay. A lot of counties don't even have these type of policies, but we do. That helps govern us and guide us in our financial affairs. We just want to have this consistent.
What I was going to say, this is into the budget committee, when it's approved there, and it's hopefully just temporary time frame.
Yes.
Commissioner Moore.
I'm not hearing real well. No fault of anybody. So what we amending it for?
So we've adopted this policy years ago, and it guides the budget committee and guides us in putting budgets together. We're just saying we want to suspend it during this time of the COVID-19.
Okay, all right, I hear you. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? 520 CV 1905.
So what timeline? To the end of the year, to the end of the budget year?
To the end of next year. It'd be next year. We'll come up, this policy will come back up next year. It comes up every year during the budget work, and we'll probably, I don't know if I got an end date on this. I think I did, but maybe I didn't. But it's next fiscal year.
So can we note that in the resolution then?
I'd be glad to have that noted.
Should I amend that then, that this would last through, yes, it is in here, through June 30th, 2021.
I thought I had it in there.
Any other questions or comments? Madam Clerk, call the roll.
Bell?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Rushiers?
Yes.
Cunningham?
Yes.
East?
Yes.
Ellis? Gann?
Yes.
Hendrickson?
Yes.
Hester?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Cooks?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
White?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
15 yes.
Resolution 0520 CV 1905 is adopted. Moving on to resolution 0520 CV 1906, resolution of the governing body of Roane County, Tennessee, authorizing the issuance, sale, and payment of general fund 101 tax anticipation notes not to exceed $3 million. Motion by Commissioner Meadows. Second by Commissioner Gann. Commissioner Meadows.
This is one of the issuances that Mr. Woody brought up during his talk earlier. It is temporary tax revenue anticipation, and from what we were talking about our budget meeting, this would be a bank note, and you wouldn't have the cost involved in underwriting to a bond issuer. It's really big to me. So, and we may not need it, hopefully not.
Commissioner Gann.
Nothing but.
Any other questions or comments? Clerk call roll.
Bell.
Aye.
Barry.
Yes.
Rushiers.
Yes.
Cunningham.
Yes.
East.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Gann.
Yes.
Hendrickson.
Yes.
Hester.
Yes.
Hickman.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
15 yes.
Resolution 520 CD 1906 is adopted. Resolution 520 CD 1907, a resolution of the governing body of Roane County, Tennessee, authorizing the issue of sale and payment of general purpose school fund 141 fund tax anticipation notes not to exceed $4 million. Motion by Commissioner Meadows, second by Commissioner White. Commissioner Meadows.
Pretty much the same thing as in previous resolutions, that this is dedicated to the schools that we.
Commissioner White.
Nothing bad.
Any other questions or comments? Commissioner Berry.
Mr. Williams, on the, we borrowed these from the bank as well. Why would we have,
It would either be the bank or internally, if we have enough cash just scattered out around all of our funds. So our banker technically is the trustee. Then the trustee has banks. So
what would they be, anticipation of series 2028? Just borrow from
you just gotta, the 2020A, you just gotta label them for whatever the comptroller's office wants to. Yeah.
Thank you.
Any more questions or comments? Clerk call roll.
Bell.
Yes.
Barry.
Yes.
Rushiers.
Yes.
Cunningham.
Yes.
East. Ellis. Gann.
Yes.
Hendrickson.
Yes.
Hester.
Yes.
Hickman.
Yes.
Cook.
Yes.
Meadows.
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
White.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
15 yes.
Resolution 520 CV 1907 is adopted. Resolution 52001, a resolution appropriating funds to allow the county to clean up nuisance in the dilapidated properties which have been court ordered to be cleaned up. I think this is a substitution from the earlier. I've got a motion by Commissioner Wilson, second by Commissioner Hook. Commissioner Wilson.
Either county attorney or Mr. Copeland.
Which is.
It doesn't matter. Whichever one we're talking.
make sure it wasn't me, I think.
Your tongue's bound to be heard, so Mr. Copeland.
Maybe I don't talk as long as you. This is the situation where we've got one properties that the court is unable to get the property owner to clean it up. So the court has ordered the county to clean up the properties. And we have to clean them up. So I believe this is just to set aside a fund to cover those costs as they arise.
Mr. Wilson.
Nothing further.
Commissioner Hook.
I'm good.
Mr. Beck.
So after this, after we pay these ones that we've seen the court making us clean them up, now we really need to step back on enforcing our law, cleaning them up. I guess let that fall on the judge's hand, let that be on him. His constituents. They come to us and say, well, why is Joe's house down there nasty and dilapidated, blah, 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 rats and snakes? But we tried to fix it. We tried to take it to court and win, but we ended up having to pay for it. It's costing you in the long run, you know. The judge is not making pay, so. Well, the judge, thinking crazy or what? Well,
decision under the law as to whether it is appropriate to jail this person because this person failed to abide by the court's order. Now, under the law, the judge can only put somebody in jail for not cleaning up the property if the court finds that that person has the means to clean up the property. And we're running into situations where people don't have the means. So these are the situations predominantly where we're having to clean up. The only other situation that we have is when we've got somebody that's passed away that owns the property and we can't find the heirs, then we have to get an administrator appointed for that person just to get an order to allow us to clean it up. So those are the other situations that we're doing.
Thank you. Mr. Meadows.
This is the resolution that replaced the $100,000 resolution, and we came to the budget committee and we already had judgments on these properties. And Mr. Woody actually presented it to the budget committee to take it all off the table for the time being, but we tried to keep part of it on there to continue supporting Mr. Coker and his efforts. And this is on a couple of pieces of property that are really problems in two different parts of the county. And one of our concerns was if we don't clean it up now, it's going to cost even more later. And Mr. Coker's doing a really good job trying to keep the county, doing a job trying to keep the county clean. And it's one of those situations where if we don't do it now, it's going to cost us for the long run. And we will be getting a lien on the property for our unpaid balance. I don't know what that will do for us. They collected all, maybe not collect any, but at least it's carrying the process forward.
Mr. Barrett.
So we're allocating 50,000. And the resolution says we've got 4 or 5 for the anticipated cleanup could exceed 100. So I guess my question to you, Mr. Coker, would be, are we going to, is this going to be tying your hands to, because if you get out here and don't have the money, then we're going to get to a certain spot. If we start condemning or don't have money to take it and start getting liens, then we're going to have property all over the county with liens against it from the county.
Well, we try to sell the properties collectively. Now, I got last week.
But we would own the property. The county would own the property.
No, the county has a lien. Now, we haven't had a sale yet. We just filed on one, and I can't find heirs, so I hadn't moved forward with selling that.
Okay.
But we would have a public auction and
trying to get our money.
try to get our money. Right.
Let's go.
To be honest with you, this resolution is just for this fiscal year till the end of the year. $50,000 will be plenty for us to operate and try to get some of these properties cleaned up between now and the end of the fiscal year. It's next year's budget that will be really critical on how much we can get done. Because there's going to be, the next time that we get into court, I fully anticipate us to have at least 4 to 5 more judgments that we'll have, because people are either unable to or just will not do it. And guys, we're talking about properties that are very unsafe. They're standing open. They're in the middle of neighborhoods. We've got a junkyard that you wouldn't believe sitting in the middle of a subdivision. And, the only way that those other folks are going to get any relief from it is if the county goes in and does it, because these property owners are refusing or just can't do it.
So you're going full speed ahead?
Yeah. Guys, we're going to manage this.
Next cycle is when you're going to need more money.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha. Thank you.
How you gonna clean that up? Is that gonna be by some of our county folks or prisoners, or what?
It'll be bid out under contract like we have in the past.
Bid out?
Yeah.
What we use some residents.
Yeah.
Generally, the sheriff's department will not allow inmates on these properties.
The sheriff's department has to be there when it's cleaned up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had to pay for that officer to be present during the days of work.
If we were to use the inmates, that's not what our plans are. Our plans are to bid this out through the normal bid process, the purchasing department, and get these things cleaned up as low a cost as we can. Guys, we're going to prioritize these things in the manner of the most unsafe, the most nuisance properties, the ones we got the most complaints are. Those will be the ones that will be high on the list, and we'll try and knock them off as we can go, especially these ones that, we could end up maybe with some liability if we don't take care of it.
So, Commissioner Moore.
That was my point. I can't do my job well, let alone the council's job, but it appeared to me if we let a contract out to go do work on private property, that we're accepting some degree of risk on that. If somebody gets hurt, whatever, I know they have workers' comp and all that. It just seems like to me that that's, I'm certainly the heel of someone very smart. Just my first thought was that something goes out there in terms of bobcat over on some guy's property or something while they're out there. It just seems like it's a little, I don't know.
That's one of the reasons why you want a contractor now, because it's going to put the liability on the contractor and not on the county if the county's doing it.
I'm good.
Any more questions or comments on 52001? Clerk, call roll.
Bill?
Yes.
Barry?
Yes.
Rushiers?
Yes.
Cunningham?
Yes.
East?
Yes.
Ellis?
Yes.
Gann?
Yes.
Henderson?
Yes.
Hester?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Hook?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yes.
Moore?
Yes.
White?
Yes. Yes.
15 yes.
Resolution 52001 is adopted. Resolution 52002, a resolution 52002, resolution allowing the county executive to execute contracts with each city in Roane County for reappraisal service. I have a motion. Motion by Mr. Berry, second by Mr. Moore. Commissioner Berry.
Yeah, this is I guess a very potential spot right now for cities and for us and for everyone involved. Plus, I think there's just a lot of unknowns. I think, and I hate she's not here. One of the sheets, for instance, the GIS department doesn't show up until this year. In our budget numbers, I think our cost per partials went up from 1723 to 2718. Just a lot of things. As I understand it, we have two options per the statute. And I assume that statute is going to go into effect July 1st.
Statute's been in effect.
I'm saying, no, but now that we're on the hook, so we either can do it like the statute says of number of parcels in the city, budget by 50%, or we can do a contract.
What the statute says is that if there's no contract, then the city is supposed to pay half of the reappraisal cost for properties within the city. And technically, the statute is very clear that the cities need a contract in order to avoid paying half of that. Now, the statute doesn't tell us what the reappraisal costs are. It just says
I don't know whether their entire budget was factored into this, but in both offices, only a percentage or portion of each budget would be directed toward reappraisal. So I think in coming up with these amounts, the law requires that you look at each budget and try to figure out how much of each department's budget is dedicated solely toward reappraisal and go with that.
So you're not using the property assessor's budget, we're using the reappraisal.
Well, I don't know where the numbers came from, and my recommendation and advice is, if you're using the property assessor's budget, before you compute this, figure out exactly what in her budget is pertains to the reappraisal.
And I guess how much we either have to have a contract in place by July 1st, or we have to do the calculation.
Well,
is that correct?
It says contract. It doesn't say written contract.
No, I'm saying that we either have to have.
I mean, there needs to be some minutes somewhere indicating what the city and the county have agreed to. So yes, I think time is of the essence if theirs is no minutes indicating what was agreed to.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to make a motion that you establish a committee, commissioners, to meet with the property assessor to come up with what numbers we're actually looking at, what's making up the numbers that we're actually talking to the cities for, and repeat, and then we can report back before, even if we have to have a call meeting before next month, after a workshop or something in between. This is too critical for our cities. I think one thing, we're unique in that we have 4 cities in our county. And so we have as much property inside as we do out. So with 5 cities counting Oak Ridge. So we have a large portion inside our cities that, you're looking at 5 or 6 cents on the tax rate for some of these cities if we do the non-contract. Even if you do a contract, you're still talking, tax increase. So I would make a motion that we...
You make a motion that I appoint an ad hoc committee to get with her and the cities and figure out what direction we're going into. If I have a special comment for the next.
It takes that to get it back so that they have time.
By Commissioner Meadows. So anything else, Mr. Berry? Anything, Mr. Meadows? Any more questions or comments? All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. Motion carries.
Well, was that an amendment to this resolution, or was it a separate motion?
No,
A separate motion.
Then I would make a motion that we defer this resolution until that committee reports back to the full commission.
Motion deferred by Commissioner Berry, second by Mr. Wilson. All in favor to defer, say aye. Aye. Opposed, like sign. 520-01 has been deferred. Okay, I need to report the ad hoc meeting for this. Is there any volunteers before I start picking names? So I got Commissioner Meadows, Commissioner Berry, Cunningham. Do I have?
Brochure. You'll be on that committee.
Hey, you spoke loud. Okay, let's move forward. Resolution.
Who is your
Myself.
Okay.
He's been a proxy.
You and Matters,
Cunningham,
down.
Shears, Ellis. Resolution 5/2003, a resolution that would allow the sale of land to the industrial park to be seated in the general capital projects fund 171, IND, instead of the current function in the project debt service fund 151. Motion by Commissioner Meadows. Second by Commissioner Hooks. Commissioner Meadows.
This is taken, except money in, right?
Second that day.
Commissioner Hooks.
Nothing further.
Any other questions or comments? No.
Barry?
Yes.
Shears? Cunningham?
Yes.
East?
Yes.
Ellis?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
Anderson?
Yeah.
Hester?
Yes.
Hickman?
Yes.
Cook?
Yes.
Meadows?
Yeah.
Ward?
No.
White?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
12 yes, 3 no.
Resolution 5/2003 is adopted. Got a motion to adjourn. Motion, Commissioner Hand, second, Commissioner White. All in favor, say aye.
They got a vintage Victrola 1951, full of my favorite records that